In this podcast episode, Dr. Todd Rose, a Harvard-trained social scientist and co-founder of the think tank Populace, explores the pervasive but hidden social phenomenon known as collective illusions. He explains how these illusions distort individual and group perceptions, causing people to self-silence and misread the true beliefs of their communities. The discussion delves into the psychological, social, and evolutionary roots of conformity, the role of social media and bots in amplifying false consensus, and the severe personal and political consequences that follow. Dr. Rose also offers insights into authenticity, personal growth, cultural influence, and the potential pathways to overcoming these illusions by embracing courage and truth. Collective illusions occur when individuals in a group go along with beliefs or behaviors they privately disagree with because they mistakenly think others support them. This dynamic creates a version of groupthink where the group's actual consensus is obscured, leading entire communities to act on false premises. The effect is damaging both personally and socially. On an individual level, people who self-silence or lie about their true beliefs experience diminished authenticity, psychological stress, and even cardiovascular consequences. Collectively, these deceptions erode social trust, fuel resentment, and increase social isolation. The illusion creates a feedback loop where conforming to a phantom majority undermines the very groups to which individuals seek belonging. Dr. Rose highlights the deep evolutionary wiring behind conformity, rooted in humans' survival dependency on group belonging. From a neuroscientific perspective, the brain values social alignment so strongly that agreement with one's perceived group triggers a dopamine reward response comparable to addictive drugs. Conversely, disagreement produces an intense neural error signal, disrupting attention and memory. This wiring leads to a powerful bias toward conformity, even in highly subjective domains like attractiveness. However, the brain's way of estimating group consensus is often simplistic and flawed, usually relying on the loudest and most repetitive voices as proxies for majority opinion. While this heuristic might have served ancestral environments well, it proves maladaptive in today's social media era, where a small, extreme minority dominates the discourse. Social media platforms have transformed collective illusions into a widespread crisis by giving disproportionate amplification to a vocal minority. Dr. Rose cites data showing that about 80% of social media content is generated by only 10% of users who tend to hold extreme views. Moreover, about a quarter of interactions online are with bots that can subtly impose fringe ideas on discourse in innocuous settings before activating to shift perception. Foreign actors and authoritarian regimes exploit this mechanism as a weapon to undermine social cohesion and democracy. The result is that people falsely believe extreme views represent the majority, inducing self-censorship and dishonesty. This manipulation creates a profound collective misperception, further polarizing society and making genuine dialogue difficult. Populace's private opinion research reveals alarming discrepancies between what people truly believe in private and what they publicly express. Nearly every demographic group in the U.S. conceals their actual views on multiple issues due to perceived social pressure. A striking example involves the defund the police movement, where 61% of Democrats publicly claimed support at its peak, but only 9% privately agreed. Such divergences have led to misguided policies and political backlash. Another example was the post-2020 election environment, where a majority of Republicans publicly believed the election was stolen, while privately most did not. These gaps foster dangerous mistrust and undermine democratic institutions. By exposing these illusions, individuals can begin to reclaim authentic dialogue and reduce divisiveness. One of the most revealing findings from Dr. Rose's research relates to Americans' private definitions of success versus their beliefs about what others desire. While people often assume the majority values fame, wealth, and power above all, private data shows these status-oriented traits rank lowest in actual importance. Instead, contribution, meaningful work, and community involvement consistently emerge as top priorities across generations. However, many report falling short in these areas, citing collective illusions as a barrier, believing others do not care or participate enough to justify their involvement. This misperception drains motivation and fulfillment. Dr. Rose argues that aligning public norms more closely with these authentic private values could dramatically improve individual life satisfaction. Cultural narratives and media representations both reflect and reinforce collective illusions. For instance, television showrunners often portray characters chasing fame and status because they assume those are the desires their audience shares. This perpetuates the illusion, normalizing and amplifying false social norms. At the same time, culture can be a powerful vehicle for change when used consciously. Dr. Rose points to the example of Will and Grace and other media efforts that subtly shifted public opinion on gay marriage by providing social proof rather than explicit persuasion, illustrating how art can help dismantle illusions and reshape group beliefs from within. When confronting collective illusions, traditional persuasion techniques can backfire by reinforcing entrenched false beliefs. Dr. Rose discusses the failed Say No to Drugs campaign as a cautionary example. It assumed teens were curious about drugs, while private data showed they were skeptical but believed their peers used drugs frequently. The campaign's heavy scare tactic messaging inadvertently validated the illusion and increased drug use. Such examples underscore that social change under collective illusions is more about revealing hidden consensus, social proof, than trying to forcibly convince others. Recognizing this distinction is critical for effective activism and policy. Dr. Rose shares an inspiring historical case highlighting the power of shattering collective illusions. In communist-era Czechoslovakia, dissident poet Václav Havel recognized that the regime's power depended on citizens' shared belief in a false collective reality. He posited authenticity, living in truth, as the antidote. Havel fostered small acts of genuine expression, building social courage and gradually undermining the illusion. This movement culminated in the Velvet Revolution, a peaceful overthrow of communist rule without violence or bloodshed. Havel's approach demonstrated how ordinary individuals, by embracing authenticity and breaking the social silence, can catalyze profound societal transformation. Stepping into authenticity often involves discomfort and loneliness, especially when prevailing norms pressure conformity. Dr. Rose distinguishes between belonging, being accepted for who you really are, and fitting in, which demands suppressing individuality to meet group expectations. The latter leads to diminished lives and ongoing illusions. Courageous authenticity requires not only self-awareness, but also relational skill. Engaging others with respect, curiosity, and without moralizing fosters openness and connection rather than conflict. Authentic living thrives not in oppositional contrarianism, but in genuine conviction and dialogue, opening the door for collective healing and change. Much of what individuals accept as truth is inherited cultural norms that may no longer reflect their authentic beliefs or current realities. Dr. Rose recounts his own journey from a conservative religious upbringing through crisis and exploration toward a hopeful agnosticism. He highlights the value of sampling diverse spiritual and philosophical traditions to discern personal fit, emphasizing the importance of holding beliefs lightly and critically. This approach parallels scientific inquiry's principle that knowledge is provisional and must be regularly revised based on evidence. Embracing uncertainty and ongoing questioning can deepen conviction as well as tolerance for differing views. Drawing on René Girard's theory, Dr. Rose explains how humans not only imitate behaviors, but also imitate desires, often unconsciously competing for the same limited goals. This mimetic rivalry can escalate into cycles of conflict and scapegoating that have shaped history's great tragedies and social strife. Overcoming this requires cultivating individuality and subjective values, allowing people to pursue different aspirations rather than all chasing the same status symbols. When individuals authentically embody diverse desires, social tensions ease, and pluralistic societies can flourish with greater harmony and creative potential. While self-discovery involves introspection, Dr. Rose emphasizes that true self-knowledge is deeply relational and social. Engaging with others offers essential feedback and opportunities to notice blind spots and unconscious conditioning. Reflection alone is insufficient without real-world interaction and friction that bring hidden patterns to light. Moreover, periods of solitude and technology detox provide needed space for genuine contemplation. The balance of inward and outward exploration nurtures both personal authenticity and deeper connections, fostering the kind of resilient, empathetic individuals who can help dissolve collective illusions. As traditional institutions and social norms falter amid rapid societal shifts, the ability to know oneself and live authentically emerges as an essential skill for the modern age. Dr. Rose likens this to literacy during the advent of print, a prerequisite for effectively navigating new technological realities. He argues that the perceived value of conformity has collapsed under the weight of pervasive illusions, leaving little upside to abandoning personal judgment. Developing courage to embrace uncertainty, question inherited paradigms, and express true beliefs is central to resisting manipulation and enabling a more truthful society. The conversation closes on a hopeful note about individual agency in transforming collective consciousness. Rather than grand gestures, daily commitments to honesty, authenticity, respectful dialogue, and curiosity can powerfully shift group dynamics. By embodying these values, individuals become magnets that inspire others toward truth-telling and openness, gradually dismantling illusions. Drawing on the legacy of movements like the Velvet Revolution, Dr. Rose encourages everyone to find micro moments of courage in everyday life, affirming that even without wealth or fame, each person holds a vital role in shaping more authentic communities. Dr. Rose invites listeners to explore the extensive private opinion data collected and analyzed by Populace at populace.org, which reveals the depth and breadth of collective illusions currently affecting U.S. society. The transparency and public availability of this research support greater awareness and empower individuals and organizations to challenge social lies with empirical evidence. Continued engagement with such data, combined with conscious self-examination and courageous social action, lays a foundation for healing and renewal.